my grandfather, E.K. Fernandez, who was a native Hawaiian, born and raised in Honolulu, really, he was the original showman. He started E.K. Fernandez shows in 1903. He took a bed sheet and a projector and started showing movies to the plantation workers around the Hawaiian Islands. And that's how he kind of got started.
So, hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast. I am so super excited to be speaking with you today and specifically to be talking to one of my favorite people in the industry, Shelley Fernandez-Katz, president of BMI. And of course, everybody can recognize the name Fernandez from the famous Fernandez family. So, welcome, my dear.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah. You're looking smashing today, as always.
Thank you very much. Likewise. That is that is one thing. This is okay, just so for anyone who's listening, okay, and is not like privy to what we do on the show floor, I'm always writing to BMI just to say, okay, let's see what blazer Shelley is rocking today.
That is so funny, Sarah.
It's true. And I'll usually like walk by and look at you and be like, oh, I love it. Like throwing down the
I
style,
love it.
right?
Gotta do it.
Anyway, my dear, thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited to be talking to you today. Congratulations also, your mom. She was inducted into the
Thank you.
Hall of Fame. How cool is that?
I know that was so unbelievable and was so exciting for the whole family. My boys were there. I flew up and it was just something special. And so happy for her that she and my dad were both recognized. It was pretty neat.
That's right. After a lifetime of
It
work. And what was actually, it was
Unbelievable.
particularly touching to me was to see your entire family in the front row, you and your siblings, right? And as they were describing her life and, the family business, I could see your sister, she like fist pumped at
I
one
know.
point, right? I mean, the source of pride,
Yeah.
I would have been so proud. And you could just see like her
Yeah.
grandson helped, I think your son Mitchell helped her, right? Take
Yes.
the first few steps to
Um,
get on the stage. I mean, it was all very, very touching and just
oh,
a long overdue
yeah.
recognition, if you ask
Uh,
me. So,
well,
congratulations, my
thank you
dear.
very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Why don't we jump in? Okay, tell us your story. What's your
Sure.
family history with
Oh
the
my
FEC
gosh.
industry? I know. And at what age did you start? What were your roles? What inspired you to start or continue your family business? And then just
Uh,
even talk about just going from Fun Factory to BMI. Take it away.
okay. All right. All right. How much time do we have? No, I'm teasing. Um, so my grandfather, E.K. Fernandez, who was a native Hawaiian, born and raised in Honolulu, really he was the original showman. He started E.K. Fernandez shows in 1903. And I don't know if you know this, Sarah, but he took a bed sheet and a camera or a projector and started showing movies to the plantation workers around the Hawaiian Islands. And that's how he kind of got started. And then he went and he searched the globe for circus acts, and he brought the circus to Hawaii and he would barge that circus. He searched the globe for wonderful acts of flying Walendas, Emmett Kelly, the famous legendary clown, and he would barge these circus acts across the Hawaiian Islands, Guam, Philippines, Japan, and that's actually how he met my grandmother. Her family were tightrope walkers, and they were one of the acts that he brought over. And
Okay.
eventually he ended up marrying her. And she walked the wire. I have none of those skills. But anyway, they ended up calling my grandfather, referring to him as the Barnum and Bailey of the Pacific.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
and so he started the circuses and then the carnivals, and my mother and father ran the games and the rides, and so me and my siblings basically were born on those that lot on the Midway, and we did everything that needed to be done. I think one of my first memories is being in the Pepsi pitch with my mom. And I think my first full sentence was $1 for 3 rings, please. And selling ring toss and painting the joints. And, we were midway kind of rugrats. And so as we progressed, right, we learned how to make popcorn, do the cotton candy. My mom gave me my own midway game to run when I was 12. I had to, find the labor, buy the merchandise from her, and kind of learn the business that way, right? So we touched everything. We ran the stock. We did whatever needed to be done.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and then in 1970s, mom and dad ended up opening a chain of family entertainment centers called Fun Factory.
Hmm.
And that's basically where I cut my teeth in the redemption industry. Learned about ticket values and all of that. And again, popcorn, serving up pizza, doing whatever you needed to do, right?
That's right.
And yeah, and the whole family was involved. So summer times we do all the traveling with the circuses, and so we did that until, until forever. And I ended up going to college, obviously,
Hmm.
and still worked in the family business. But one of the rules that we had was that you had to go work someplace else for a year
Yeah,
before you could really join permanently the family business. So that was one of the rules.
I
And so I
see.
did that, but I loved this business so much and it was just in my DNA.
Hmm.
So I came back and worked in our merchandise company that supported EK Fernandez shows and Fun Factory and worked my way up there and started manufacturing overseas in China, etc. And just really loved that. And that's actually how I met David because my mom said, "Hey, Shelley, you have to see this guy, David Katz from Bonita
Right.
Marie. He's got some great crane kits. You really got to take a look." I was like, "Oh, mom, okay." Okay. So we did, and we started, buying things from David and from BMI, well, Bonita Marie then.
Uh-huh.
And and then, you know, things happened, and David and I started dating, and he's the world's greatest salesman ever.
Yeah,
Sold a Hawaiian girl on moving to New Jersey. I was
I
like,
know.
"New where? New wait." He said,
From
"Oh,
wait a
you're
minute,
gonna love it."
from
Yeah,
Paradise to New Jersey.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He says, it's really not that much different. We've got the oceans, we have rivers. You're gonna love it. I said, "Really?" And so anyway, um, I still ran our merchandise company. I became the president of our family company,
Right.
but was traveling back and forth from Hawaii to New Jersey. I would leave the kids at my mom's house, go to China, come back,
Wow.
and so we did that for many years. And then David said, "Why don't you come join my team?" And I was like, "Oh, it was really hard, but at the time, it was
Hmm.
the best decision we made for our Hawaii business because it was just getting too much, and it
Right.
wasn't. You know what I mean? So you need to do
Yes.
what was best for the business. And then David asked me to join him, and I did, and we've been growing it ever since.
Amazing. Okay, so you went from one family business into another. And what's
Yes.
fascinating is I love the way you put it when you're like, listen, I was born into this. And my grandfather was the original showman, right? And
Yeah.
it's such a reoccurring theme in this industry. How many people will say, listen, I'm a showgirl or I'm a showman. I don't know how to live any
Right.
other way, right? And
Right.
I was born into this, and my earliest job and my earliest words and my earliest recollection is working, right? And getting and increasing your scope of responsibility. It's unbelievable the kind of work ethic that it'll build in you and how it kind of just automatically wires you for entrepreneurship, which is why I'm not
Yeah. You
surprised
have
that
no
you were
choice.
right. You have no choice. You do whatever it takes, right? I
Whatever
think
it takes.
this
Yeah.
is fascinating. Going back and forth to China, sourcing, I can imagine, and then making that decision to work with your husband, another family-run business. And here's the thing, not a whole lot of spouses can work together, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely a talent and a skill. And I learned it from my parents. And it's so interesting. David and I mirror my parents so much. So, like in our Hawaii office, my
Mhm.
dad was upstairs and my mother was downstairs. And it just so happened to evolve. That's how David and I have always done it as well. I'm upstairs and he's downstairs. And it just kind of evolved that way.
Got
So
it.
I take a lot of cues from them and how they work together and how they work things out, right? Because you have
Yes.
to be united but it's tricky, you know? It's emotional and but you both love it, so you're both going in the same direction and
Right.
nothing can get between the two of you.
Fa-
There's
Fascinating.
nothing like it.
Okay. It's incredible. And to be able to manage it and to do it successfully in itself
Hmm.
is such an accomplishment. Amazing. Okay, let's sidebar for a moment.
Okay,
Do you
sidebar.
mind, okay, do you mind sharing the story of your
Uh-oh.
first date?
Oh God, Sarah.
You may or may not want to, but it is such a great story. It's the best story.
Is it?
It's
All
the
right.
best. It's the best. When you
So,
shared that with me, do you remember? We had to like huddle in a corner. I was like, this
mm,
is such a gripping story. Okay, tell us.
oh God. So, well, our first date. We were at New York Toy Fair, and we'd been doing business for I don't know, 4 years, 4+ years, something like that.
Mhm.
And so anyway, he says, "Hey," he took me and some of his salesmen and some other guys out into New York City because we were in New York, and Planet Hollywood had just opened up, and he goes, "Let's go to Planet Hollywood." I said, "What?" It's like just opened up. There's gonna be a line around there that's like 2 years long.
Exactly.
He's like, "No problem. Let's just get in the car. We'll get a cab." So we pull up in front of Planet Hollywood, and of course, the line around there is 2 years long.
That's
So he
right.
goes, "Everybody, follow me. Get out of the car." I'm like, "Okay." So it's winter, right? I've got my coat on, and there's all these giant guys, and I'm about, this big, this tall,
Right.
and there are all these
That's right.
giant guys. So he pulls up to the front of the bouncer. He goes, "Hey, um, I need your help right now. I have the ambassador's daughter to Venezuela here. She can't be on the street for more than 2 seconds. Should we get her in the front or do you have a side entrance? And she
For
speaks no
celebrities.
English. Let's go." And I looked at David, I was like, "Wait, what?" And then all the guys flip up their collars, pretend like they're,
Right. Security.
they're FBI security. You can hear like the theme song to Mission Impossible playing in the background. And they're like, "Oh my God, code red, code red." I was like, "Oh, geez." So, anyway, and of course, 2 seconds later, they come up, "Okay, we've got a space for her. We're scooter right here. Everybody, go, go, go." And we
That's
end up in Planet Hollywood. I said, "Wow, this guy's got game."
absolutely. I'm telling you,
It was very funny.
absolutely. That is the best. Number one salesperson, okay, that he was able to actually, just
But
pull it off, okay? And then number
so,
two, he found the best story, okay? When I was talking to Renee about it afterwards, okay, she was like, she could totally be Miss Venezuela. Absolutely. I'm like, exactly. Right. So he picked the perfect storyline. And so
oh yeah,
I love that story. It's the best. It
it's so
is.
funny. Sarah, that came out of left field, Sarah.
Sorry. Okay. I'm going to stick to the questions then. Okay. So tell me, Shelley, how do you blend your family dynamics with running a business? Like, what lessons have you learned about working with relatives and loved ones? I know that you were saying you
Mhm.
emulate your parents. upstairs, downstairs, and then just in your cohesion and how you navigate challenges and whatnot. But what other, have
Yeah.
you had any learnings at all?
Well, yeah, you have to be kind and you have to be respectful, right? And it isn't easy. Family business isn't easy. We have Mitchell, David had his brothers here, so it's personal and it's in your
It is.
bones, and you have your own opinions. But that's the gift of family is the gift of trust, the gift of love, and you have the same goals. So you have to talk it out, and you can't storm out, you can't walk out, you can't walk away. You have to solve it. You have to solve it. And it's just really interesting because you never leave the issues at home. Your dinner table turns into your boardroom and your strategy sessions, if that makes any sense.
It
We're
totally
always
does.
talking about it, always, always. There's not a meal that business doesn't come, but it just is. It's just like it's in your DNA. You got to do it.
Yeah. And it becomes almost like obsessive, right? Because you're both on
Oh,
an
it is.
adventure. You're an adventure. And you know what? And it's your baby, right?
Yeah.
Creating something
Yes.
from nothing, right? Or taking on like the stewardship of something that is a family legacy. I mean, there's this tremendous
Right.
responsibility that goes with that. And I
There
can
is.
imagine the passion, right? And hey, let me tell you, it's being an entrepreneur, okay, is not for the faint of heart. Okay, you have to have a
Nope.
backbone and a spirit and a constitution,
Right.
and not only like the grit, but like the hustle, right? To just be like, okay,
Hmm.
we're in it together, and we're going to navigate this together.
Exactly.
There's no safety net. Okay, we're going to do this together. That's it. That's extraordinary.
You're just a bigger team, right? David
That's
and I
right.
are one half of a whole. And so that's what you got to do every
I
day.
love that.
And that it's our hobby and our work, so
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah,
wrapped up into one.
I get it. So tell me, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced early on, as a family-run business? Like, did you learn
Oh,
from witnessing your family? I think we've talked about this, multi-generational
oh
businesses, and
yeah.
how did you support navigating challenges?
Well, there were so many challenges, right? My parents, especially with the outdoor business and weather, labor, making ends
That's
meet,
right.
all of that, right?
Yeah,
But my parents had just immense fortitude. I can remember clearly uh, playing state fair, and that's our biggest event of the year. That's where we
right,
we got to make the donuts, so to speak, right?
right.
And I remember Saturday night, it was a just terrible weather. It was raining sideways on both sides, and it was Saturday night, prime time, and we've got 400 people, staffing the games, the rides, the food,
Yeah,
all of it.
right.
And I looked to my dad and I said, "Hey, Dad, maybe we should call it tonight. Let's and save the labor, right?" He
Yes.
looked at me. "Don't you ever say that. We are never going to call it. Don't
Oh,
let
wow.
anybody ever hear you say that." I said, "Okay." And sure enough, hour or so later, storm clears, and we recover at least part of the Saturday night. But it really taught me that never give up, and
Right.
you got to you can't do that, and you can't let other people see you give up or close up.
Wow. That's so
And
strong. Your logic was
is
good, though. You know what? Your logic was
it
good. Okay. The logic of like, hey,
okay?
manpower, overhead, holy cow. And
Right?
just for anybody who's wondering, oh, was it just like a heavy storm? Listen,
No,
in the tropics, you get typhoons, where the wet, literally the rain, like you said, is sideways. You don't know where it's coming from. You're like, it's just so
yeah,
and people usually hunker
yeah,
down and they wait. And so your logic was sound. And what a lesson from dad, right? To be like, never
right?
say that,
Yeah,
right?
never, never, never. And then for BMI, COVID was our perfect storm.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that we got hit from all directions. supply chain, all our whole customer base was shut down. And, we had all these wonderful team members that we had to take care of, like everybody else. And I didn't know how that was really gonna play
Right.
out. I had merchandise in China, I had merchandise on the water, I had stuff
Oh
being
man.
in production, and we would call our customers, say, "Hey, is your state still open? You still want your order? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ship it. Okay, okay, great." But by the time it got there, their state was closed. So we send it back. And so we had negative sales. We still had to keep the warehouse open, like everybody else had to do.
Yeah.
But we we weathered it, and we used that time to streamline our business, our AMRS process, really hone our value add to our customers.
Right.
And that's kind of what we did. We streamlined and automated so that we were stronger when we did get to open up. But wow, that was like walking on a waterbed, right? Because
Yeah. So
because you
true.
just don't know when things are going to turn around. But it taught us a lot about ourselves, and it reminded me about that Saturday night, not one night, but months and months, right? And
That's right.
how to get through it as a family, and how to take care of our BMI family. And a lot of good came out of it because we did a lot with our automated reorder system, just in time inventory. We honed that, put automations in place for us, learned how to do more with less. And that's kind of where I dreamed about RFID. Like, what's the you step? You know,
Right.
how are we going to
Yes.
do that? And it took us several years, but we finally brought over the finish line, as you know. So,
That's right. And in fact, a couple of things there that I heard was your COVID experience was really, it was so difficult. Let me tell you, it was difficult for
yeah,
everybody, right? Obviously.
I know,
And
obviously.
right, and just and trying to navigate that and navigating also a situation in which our industry in the past, has always been resilient to economic downturns, right? Because a mom will always find
Yep.
the funding or the resources to celebrate her kid's
Hmm.
birthday, always, okay?
Right.
But yet, in this case, our businesses, our customers were the first to close and the last to reopen, right? And I
I
think
know.
we can agree that there were more than a few tears during that time, right? But isn't it fascinating how going through that hardship teaches you not only what you're made of, but also the innovation that comes from hardship, right? The innovation of like, oh,
Exactly.
do more with less, right? Streamline, right? And then finding that, you're able to do so much more with like a smaller team. I mean, it was really,
Hmm.
there's a lot of goodness that came out of the pandemic, but boy, when you were in the eye of the storm, I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, there were more than a few tears, more than a few sleepless nights. It was,
Yeah.
right? And you know how people
No.
during that time were like, family naps and are you
Yeah, no.
kidding me? No. You're in your
No.
dining room, you're in your kitchen, you're like
No.
whiteboarding, right? Just trying to keep your business
Yeah.
afloat,
Just
correct?
trying. Right. Right. We had a customer that was trying to connect with their customers, still have birthdays, but have birthdays online. And could we send them birthday party packs? So everybody, all of our customers were trying to do the best, right?
Yes.
Trying to tell people it's safe to come in. We're wiping down all the games. Every other game is open, but it was a non-gathering time.
It was a
Couldn't gather.
non-gathering time. That's right. And what's fascinating for BMI is okay, so BMI has always had a reputation of being trailblazing, which shouldn't surprise anybody given the multi-generations that you come from, right? You're
Oh, thank you.
hardwired, right? You're hardwired to be an entrepreneur and to always be thinking of, okay, what's the solution, right?
Right.
How do we find different ways of improving what we do, layering value, and at the end of the day, it's about neutralizing your competition, right? And outpacing and outperforming them. It's that simple, right? Would you agree?
I would agree. I
Okay.
mean, that is my motivation. Sorry.
No,
No,
there you
it's,
go. Of
yeah.
course,
I mean,
you're
that's
running a
that's
business.
what we're doing.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is I know BMI, listen, has invested a significant amount, 2 years, in fact, right? To basically take your redemption. your redemption business to another level, so much so that you're able to
Yep.
be like, look, inventory management, your RFID
Yeah.
solution, right? Makes BMI a trailblazer. And obviously, people will say, ask me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. And I love that at the moment, okay, at the moment, BMI and Embed have just announced, right, the integration of our two
Yeah.
systems so that literally we're going to be operating as one, right? For our customers
That's
that we share. And we share demanding customers like Doug Meckling of Starlines Polaris, named
that's
FEC
right.
of the year, right? He's like, look, I've got all these, I'm working with the best of the best because I am counting on them to integrate and to work seamlessly. And so, my dear, tell us a little bit more about that innovation. And I love that you, Shelley, are the person that said, wait a minute. We need to find some innovation here and trailblaze and kind of lead that on
Oh.
behalf of BMI. Like that is so cool.
Thank you. Well, we've always, our one of our core pillars is to be at the forefront of technology. We wanted to be more than just a merchandise provider, and having that operation background. Operating FECs and inventory in and of itself is just a huge component of what we do, and I think it's a big struggle for a lot of our customers, depending on how big your redemption center is, right? And so we set out to solve that because inventory, if anybody does a physical inventory every month, you know how painful it is. Are they really counting the army men? Are they really counting the smarties? But, you know, is your
Right.
inventory right? Is it real time inventory? Um, and how many labor hours does it take to take to take inventory if you've got 300 plus items, 400 plus items?
Exactly.
So we are so excited about this. The merchandise comes tagged with RFID labels from BMI and with a reader. And we have an app there that totals the count. But really, you take your reader and you scan your merchandise, and it populates right there, real time, in the reader so that you can see, and management has a view of what's going on. But one of the biggest things is that it takes an inventory, again, depending on the size of your location,
Right.
from 10 hours with several people to down to 2 hours with one person.
That's right.
And it's just fabulous. And so the inventory accuracy is going up. And that's what BMI is all about, right? Is inventory accuracy and helping you manage your inventory so that you have just-in-time inventory. You're not spending all those inventory dollars just sitting because your inventory um, isn't correct in your POS, right? So
Right.
it's saving so much in labor that
Yeah.
that I think it's really going to revolutionize our industry and how we do things.
I think you're right because not only is it reducing your manpower, right, and
Oh yeah,
the man hours needed previously to do this type of task, right, but more importantly, it's in real time, okay, and that is
yes,
operational excellence. And I love the perspective you put on it, right? Because some people are going to be like, well, how hard is it just to count, a few little plush toys? No,
sure,
no, no, army
sure.
men. Okay, who's counting the army men? And so I love, okay, I love that's because it creates this picture in your mind of like, oh, it's an unbelievable undertaking. And here's the thing, we do the same thing with our 3PL inventories, right? And it is an undertaking. I mean, literally,
It
to
is.
get perfectly accurate, you have to just freeze everything and say, okay, we're doing inventory now. And it is a massive undertaking. So that is awesome. And I do believe that you are going to revolutionize
Well,
this
thank you.
sector. So bravo,
But
Shelley Fernandez.
so also thank you. Just also another point of this whole platform is that this reader can scan from 15 feet away. So what does that mean?
Oh, that's
That
right.
means that nobody has to get up on ladders. Nobody has to take down the merchandise and put it all back up after it's counted. You don't have to re-merchandise your
Right.
entire place. And I'm telling you, it is the best thing since sliced bread.
It sounds like it. That is, oh, that's awesome. Way to go.
And we have
Okay.
a great team that put it together. Our IT team here is um, fantastic. and they love it as much as I do, right? And so their
That's so
heart and
cool.
soul is in there.
I
So
love
yeah, we
that.
have a great team that puts all of this together for us, makes it happen, brings it home.
Yes, under your leadership. Okay, here. Okay, so would you consider this to be the strategy and decision that's made the biggest impact in keeping, your business at the forefront of excellence and long-term
Yes,
success?
yes, and we're not done, right? This is phase one. More to
That's right.
follow, shall I
Oh,
say?
I
More to
love that.
follow.
Is it?
Hmm.
I love that. Do you know, it always makes me so excited, right? When I speak to an entrepreneur and specifically in technology, which is what we're talking about, because this is all tech, right?
Right,
That is driving this operational excellence. And that is when they say, hey, we're just getting started. Right. As opposed to, I'm going
right.
to set it and forget it, or it's one and done. You're like, no, 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 we're just
Nope.
getting started. And that is, to me, that's always excellence, right?
Well, thank you.
Okay, so if I could share with you just sidebar here for a moment. When
Uh-oh.
sidebar, no, no, no. When I first entered the industry 7 years ago, I remember I had some competitors who were saying, we're never going to change our hardware, right? And I just thought, what? I mean, I couldn't imagine Steve Jobs coming out and saying, this is the only Apple iPhone we're ever going to have. Or we're going to stop innovating. We're going to stop innovating. Never in a million years. And so, yes, it's the right mindset. Obviously, it's a growth mindset. It's a learn it all mindset. And so,
Yeah, we're just trying to solve our customers' pain points and get better at it, bring retail methodologies into our industry and uplift our industry. That's what it's about.
right, it's elevating, right? Elevate. That's the word.
Elevating, elevating.
Sister Shelley, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give other families thinking about starting a business together, either FEC or manufacturing supplier, especially in the entertainment or hospitality industry?
Mm. Well, you know, the number one rule for me is that you have to have very clearly defined roles and respect those roles. So, like I said, my mom was in charge of Fun Factory. My dad was in charge of EKF. Of course, they overlapped a little bit, but really, you have to have clear, defined roles. When I was working with my family, um, I did X, my brother did X, my sister did X, and that's really important. And that you have one single goal in mind in total. Where are you going? What is your why? Right? What is your why? What are you working towards?
Hmm.
And I think those are the most important things. Um, as long as you have respect for one another, and you got to work it out.
Absolutely.
Can't walk away. You
Wow.
can't. You gotta
No.
work it out.
Wow, that's so cool.
But
And
it's
when you have,
hard. But you should know that
oh,
it's
it's so
hard.
hard. Of
It's hard.
course. It
Not
is.
you, but I mean, people should know like you
No.
don't just lightly go into it. And people have to be good at those roles too. Just because you have your last name is X doesn't mean that you get to do Y. You
Yes.
have to be good at it, and it has to be your passion, I think. Otherwise, it's work.
That's right. And I think I will agree with you 100%. It is not easy to work with family. And it's certainly, and especially when you're talking about, siblings, parents, and also spouse. And I love the example that you've given about like, listen, clearly defined roles, scope, and responsibilities, but everybody shares the same common goal of the why and what we're building.
Right.
And then having
Hmm.
respect and not being able to walk away. I'm going to make sure, as you know, I work with my husband. He's the GM of North America. I'm going to
Yes.
have a chat with him and be like, listen,
Uh-oh,
okay,
this did not come from me.
I'm going to say, I'm going to tell him you know what? We got to model some of these things because
Well,
so things are much more
I think
seamless.
you're doing okay. I think you're doing
Oh,
okay.
thank you. Okay, so is there anything else? Any final comments about, being all in the family and the fact that it's all in the genes?
Well,
Anything else that you want to mention at all?
I just love it. I just love it. And I just love this industry. This is just a great industry overall.
Isn't it?
And it's
I
growing. It's
Yes,
growing, and there's a lot of good stuff happening. And we just got to keep propelling it forward.
Absolutely. And yes, this industry is extraordinary, right? The generosity of individuals who are willing to knowledge
Hmm.
transfer someone or even sit like we've done
Hmm.
here is sit down and talk to one another. And just we have there's so many family, multi-generational family businesses that are incredibly inspiring. Although the Fernandez one though really is kind of a standout simply because from Hawaii, right? And then for somebody
Yeah,
like just genetically blessed. Your sister was Miss Hawaii, is that correct?
she was. Yes.
Okay. And she's also, I think, your CFO, correct?
She is everything. She's the CFO, she's the vice president. She's got multi hats there.
Yeah,
And she's just awesome.
every individual in your family just seems to be these really intelligent individuals on top of being an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
right? It's one thing to be an entrepreneur and then be CFO, an entrepreneur and then be head of operations, etc. And so,
Right.
and you're right, anyone who meets your family, you could just tell there's a cohesion there. And again, whether it's, the Fernandez family or whether it's BMI, you can see the cohesion there as well because of, Mitchell, I think is in your sales team, right? Because I see him at
Oh
every
yeah.
expo and
Oh
he's working
yes.
there
Yes.
as
His
well.
tag name is Mitch from BMI.
There you go.
And yeah, he's great. He's great. But he started in our warehouse. So he started at BMI warehouse during the summers. And then, he worked his way up. And when he graduated, he worked in the warehouse. Then he went to the field installation team. So he's touched every aspect of almost every part of our business. And he landed in sales, and that's where he really shines because he has knowledge of all the departments and what it takes to do a setup and a planogram,
That's right.
for a customer and those struggles and whatever. So he's ground up, ground up, and
Right.
I look forward to him doing great things.
Oh, no question about it. My dear, congratulations on everything,
Thank you.
really. And thank
Well,
you so
thank you very
much
much.
for the gift of your
Absolutely.
example.
Oh, aren't you
I
sweet? Well,
say,
thank you. And we're just so happy to be partnering.
of
It's all
course.
about partnering with the best of the best in class and
There you
and
go.
providing that for our industry.
Yes, absolutely. And so thank you, my dear. And
You're very well. Thank you for having me.